I think having a famous mother, Judy Garland, was probably both a help and a hindrance. And don't forget, she had a famous father too, Vincent Minnelli. So she, her DNA was bursting with creative energy. But having a famous mother, as famous as Judy Garland was, I mean, how do you establish yourself? I mean, you create your own identity and your own performing skills without being in the shadow of your famous mother. And I think that's what she achieved. It's no mean feat that you don't think of her as Judy Garland's daughter, but as Liza Minnelli.
You talked about your father giving you your dreams in previous interviews.
Yes.
What were they? What were the dreams?
He kept showing me the possibilities of dreaming itself. For instance, he'd say, "Who do you want to be today?" If he saw I was upset or disturbed or cranky or, just like a kid who another father would treat a certain way, what my father did with me was said, "Who do you want to be today?" And I could say, "A Spanish dancer." And he'd say, "All right." And we'd get in the car and we'd go to Thrifty and we'd buy some crepe paper and safety pins. And because he had been a costume designer in Chicago years before, we would go home and he would drape and pin this crepe paper on me, big ruffles here, and I'd watch him create this wonderful thing. And then when it was finished, he'd stand back and say, "Now, what does a Spanish dancer do?" And I'd say, "Dance?" He'd say, "Yes."
And your mother gave you your drive, you said?
Yes.
There was a performance you did with her here in London at the Palladium in '64.
Yes, the only time we ever worked on stage together, ever.
What was that like?
It was in London. Oh, it was terrific. It was very funny because she was in the wings, right? And there I am, I get on there, and I sing my first song, and she's standing right in the wings. She's going, "Yay, bravo! Oh, that's go, baby, get him! That's great, get him!" And I can hear, and I sing the next song, and the public goes wild, right? They really liked it. And she went, "Yeah, baby, you get him, you get him, you get him." The third song, there was even more applause. I think they were relieved, but there was more applause. And I heard this, "Yeah, yeah, go, Liza, yeah." By the fifth song, I turned to her, and she was putting on her lipstick in the wings, and I thought, uh-oh. And my mother did not come back on stage. Judy Garland came back on stage.
We feel the room swaying while the band's playing one of your old favorite songs from way back when. Oh, take her rap, fellas, find her an extra lap. Fellas, hey, we never go away again.
I think the experience that Liza had on Broadway was very much part of the success of the film. She could deliver a number wonderfully, she'd won the Tony with Flora the Red Menace, and all that, came out of really, hitting home a song, knocking it out of the park, which in a way was a sort of contradiction in terms, because this is a rather seedy cabaret. They're not particularly good performers, it's pretty tatty. There are light bulbs out, the costumes are not very good, and yet you totally believe it.
Excuse me, miss, but, didn't you just scream?
We had one wonderful scene right at the end of, it's the last shot of standing under a bridge in Berlin and screaming our heads off.
Here comes one now.
No. Mm-mm.
Will you do it?
All right.
No, not yet. What?
But it really was, to be with her and to yell one's head off was a wonderful affirmation of a partnership, which we enjoyed all the way through.